Guys, welcome back to another episode of Rat Radio. I'm your host Jay Bird here with Scandalous and Tiffany on for another episode. This is going to be It's Not True Love Unless There's a DVPO
I want to add or threat of a DVPO.
or threat of
50B.
or 50B.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess that does roll off a little better. It's not true love unless there's a 50B.
I asked my sister-in-law, what is that? I told her it was 50B, and she was like, what is that? I was like, good, you should never know what that is.
So you're really, this is
Yeah.
not res right there.
Yeah.
Like that's how you
she's
can
not.
tell if you don't know what a 50B is. Like
Right.
That's good.
I'm
That's
like,
good
that's
thing.
the law.
that's the law
That's what that is.
of 50B.
I didn't know that.
That's
That's the
actually,
law,
yeah,
the
it is.
50B
It's
law.
the actually 50B. Yeah.
I've actually seen the paperwork on a 50B, and it's so funny to like read the descriptions on how they got it. You ever read it? Because like it tells the whole story, and it's always
a lie.
one sided. That's how I was going.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna say it was a lie, but it's always
definitely
one sided.
Yeah, they get to hear one side and they're like, yeah, you can get it based on what you've told me. But then you get to go to court and find out sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or somebody
whole
like
story.
stoked the fire for the like first 3 hours of that life.
I was innocent.
He's like, I didn't do it. But I can actually tell this story now. Honestly, I was thinking about it for a while. So I actually had a warrant out for my arrest for over 6 years here in Cherokee. It wasn't 50B. It was like my first ex-old lady had pressed different charges on me, and like, I ain't gonna lie, we were mean to each other. Like, it was definitely, push give, like
Mutual.
definitely mutual.
Abuse.
Like, no abuse. I mean, that's a little harsh. The charges would say differently, for sure. But yeah, so like, but I kind of like dodged law enforcement for over 6 years. Like I drive the speed limit or whatever and cruise
Where
around
were you hiding? Did you work?
So you knew
in plain sight.
You knew you had a warrant this whole time.
Who?
You.
I did.
You knew you had the warrant.
Why are you trying to get me convicted?
I'm not the police, but you knowingly didn't turn yourself in.
I may or may not have known.
Plead the fifth.
And these are just stories.
These are just stories.
These are just stories.
This is not even a real story right now.
Yeah.
I'm bullshitting this.
It's just a story
It's
that he knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a story that sounded cool.
So in the story, you knew that you had a warrant for over 6 years.
Yeah.
I had like 5 warrants in different places.
I know.
All at the same time.
I know.
I got arrested one time in Bryson City, and they took me to Haywood after that, and then to Jackson County
Yeah,
after
once they
that.
get your ass once.
Oh yeah.
Like, I bonded out of one place. They took me to the next place. And then I got bonded out of the last place.
Oh damn.
Dang, that's a lot of bonds.
That's a dang. No money. I wanna be like you. I
It's
wanna
over
pay
traffic
for all this.
tickets.
Oh,
Wow.
traffic.
Literally
Okay.
traffic tickets.
Oh,
Okay.
no shit.
That's what it was.
They'll take you to jail for that shit too.
Allegedly.
Oh.
I allegedly had like a speeding ticket and an FTA for that speeding ticket, and I allegedly went to jail for that shit.
I had a seatbelt ticket. $10 ticket. I got arrested at the gym.
Oh yeah, you was telling me about that.
Yeah. I got arrested there twice.
I think you do that to look gangster sometimes. Like I think like you go in there, you're like, it'd be cool if the cops like showed up while I'm in the middle of my workout.
No, one time I told them, they said, "Can we talk to you?" And I said, "After this set," and they just left. They just left.
They waited on the set.
My friend was like, "Those cops were really looking for you, weren't they?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "And they just really left."
Yeah.
You could have like sprinted or like ran.
I tried to run that time with the when they arrested me the first time.
Oh.
I tried to run. I put my backpack on, but I was holding my son, so I like, handed my
Wow.
son to my best friend,
You have to.
and then I was gonna make a run for it, but they knew who I was. So.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
nice.
it's not like there's a whole lot of places you could have hid.
Right.
I could have got away, but
They would have went to the gym and found him.
yeah, they would've just came back to the gym. They already knew where I was at every
Should
day.
be like, hold
They'll
on.
be here every day at
Like,
12.
like, hold on, I'm gonna run a mile real quick.
The gym
Come get me
that I
after
went
my
to
run.
was all cops.
Oh, yeah.
was like
so you work out
literally-
with them.
All the cops, and I would just come in every day and be like, "Fucking hate cops." Every day, they would feel like this motherfucker. Every day, I'll do it.
Just freaking
Like loud too.
Huh?
I would do it loud, real loud, where they could hear it.
Oh.
Just like fucking hate cops.
Yeah,
And
every
just fucking
day.
slam
Every time I
weights.
seen them,
Like,
Just
they
fucking-
charge.
Well, one
They
was like
charge.
super cool. He pulled me over one time without having a license, and he let me go. He was a silver cop, and then he became a Cherokee cop.
Oh,
And I pulled pulled the okie doke, pulled over. They had a roadblock, and I seen it from a distance because when you have no license, you get good at that. So I seen it from a distance, and I pulled over, and I waited for like 30 minutes. I was using my little laptop on the Wi-Fi, pulled out to leave, and he was hiding the whole time waiting. He pulled in and waited behind me, and then when he pulled me over, he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't have a license." He was like, "All right, we'll go get him," and then drove off. And I was like, "Hell yeah!"
No, I was actually when I finally got allegedly picked up for that allegedly 6-year evasive ticket, or not ticket.
It doesn't matter if they pick you up the next day or 6 years later, really. So.
Well, yeah, so
It's the same charge.
in my head, you're right, but in my head, I thought that was like a statute of limitations, and I thought it was
No
like
statute of limitations
nope.
on felonies
FY. It was a
in North Carolina.
so I've heard.
Wow.
So I've heard. I found out that way too, but I was actually on my way to practice, when they found me. So I was like barefoot and just like had my fucking shorts on, and kid recognized me as I was like passing the theater and pulled me over, and he was real nice about it. He was real cool. He was like, "So we got to do something about this warrant." He's like, "I seen you the other day. I should have said something then, because I seen him it doesn't matter where I saw him, but I seen him a few days before, and he's like, I was gonna let you know we need to do something about this warrant, but like I forgot to tell you." And I was like, "Oh, that sucks." He was like, "So what do you want to do?" I was like, "Honestly, I can take care of this tomorrow." And he started laughing. He's like, "No, man." He said, "I've already ran your tag. I gotta take you today." I was like, "Damn, all right."
He already has his
He
evidence.
started crying.
No,
Come on, you cried.
I didn't cry. I didn't cry, but everybody thought I was abused because we practiced like the day before, and my face was all mauled up.
Oh, yeah.
So my mugshot looks like
And tears too.
yeah. Like,
For 6 years.
why is it that I was crying?
I don't know.
I'm
I
not
just
crying.
assume every person cries when they go to jail.
No.
Yeah, I do.
No, I
I
knew.
do. Every time I've cried.
Did you?
Sure.
I knew everybody in there when I got.
Me
Even
too.
the jailers, like everybody's just
Yeah, me too.
excited
I
to see
waited
me
for-
for whatever reason.
Yeah, same.
I didn't know.
They were like, "Kaylee,
I've
get
never
out of
been,
here."
so. Every time I go, it's like a bunch of my family members. And I'm like, what the fuck?
You're always doing like everybody's. Never mind.
Nah, they just was like, yeah, I can't tell them.
Yeah, just having cookouts.
Whatever. It was good for me in there, what I do for a living. So I went in there and I was
Just
doing
helped
it.
everybody
It's
out.
good.
He's a philanthropist.
It's a good gig.
So he was
I went in there
doing
and
good for people.
Made money. I'd say I went in there and made money.
Hey,
And some of the people that worked there I knew too, so they were pissed.
yeah.
Bro, every time I have to see you when you come in here. This is how I gotta get a hold of you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, we was talking, and that dude like pulled me over at the theater, and he was like, "You want to park your car at the theater?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "If you don't mind, just follow me home. I live 5 minutes down the road." I was like, "Just no." He was cool. He did.
Shit.
Yeah, he followed me all the way home. Let me park my car, and he let me ride in the front seat. He still put me in handcuffs.
Oh,
but, like,
yeah. One time, the dude that arrested me in Silver that time, he let me ride in the front, no cuffs.
Oh really?
No cuffs.
No cuffs.
Wow, they didn't even cuff me.
He was like, Rob. Damn, he knows my name. He got the window down. I never met this dude.
Yeah.
He's like, come here. And I was like, damn, alright. I was going to make the run for it, and I didn't. And he just put me in handcuffs, and I got out like immediately.
Oh,
Got out of there pretty quick.
Word.
How long did you have to do?
I got out that day.
Oh, that's weak.
Yeah.
That ain't a real
No.
DVPO.
No, it wasn't a
You
DVPO.
didn't
then.
have to do.
I got lucky because I got lucky.
72. Hold.
Oh, 72.
On boundary, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I got lucky. I knew I knew a lot of the bailiffs, and they called the magistrate who was still on duty and just like called a window, and they were like, "Oh, this is 6 years, whatever." Yeah, I got big time lucky.
I know
Allegedly
one of my clients.
got lucky.
One of my clients, anyways, got
Clientele.
he didn't show up. I'm like, well, this fucker, he just missed out. Never doing anything for him again.
Wow.
And then he shows up 2 days later
Oh.
in a wife beater, looking rough.
Oh.
He's like, hey man, I just want to let you know, like, I wasn't skipping out on you. I got arrested. And he was like, these warrants are from like a couple years ago. And he was like, oh, I got put in jail. And then he was, one person that worked there was like, yeah, he was crying. So that's why now I see him.
Yeah.
Everybody cries.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's just hanging out with the friends and family
Or
every time.
no, the only thing I really, really hated about going in there, which I didn't stay, whatever.
They have good ramen, for the record.
The
Hey,
breakfast is terrible.
I got free flip flops.
I did. I have two pairs.
You have two pairs. I've got. Oh, well.
They were begging for me to sober up to get out of there. Y'all got a cool experience.
Yeah. The only thing I really hated was my mugshot because like the dude like
Every
took the
time.
worst freaking
Zoomed
picture.
in. Why are they so zoomed in?
I don't know, man, but you could see like the freaking bruise on my face. Everybody that saw the mugshot called me up. And we were like, "Who beat you?"
I've had better.
How'd you get
mugshots.
arrested?
Yeah,
I've had better mugshots. I'll say that than the last two that I got.
the last two, the only two that you had.
The
You got
only
there.
two, for the record. All right. So what happened with the charges?
Oh, they were dismissed later on that week.
Mm.
Yeah, but if this had been like 4 years ago, I would have been.
Currently?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
if this had taken place 4 years ago, like if I had allegedly got caught earlier, way earlier,
Oh yeah.
she would have made sure I stayed in there. Like,
She
we
was
would,
native or no?
yes,
Oh, she was.
yeah. This
Okay.
was number one, not number two.
So the cops.
Well, and I
Did the
talked.
cops press the charges?
No, she did. She pressed the
So
charges.
she just
So-
waited 6 years.
No, she didn't wait.
She probably forgot about it.
Yeah,
Honestly.
so I actually called her up before I even got picked up, and I was like, "Listen, can we do something about this?" I was like, "Will you go in there and tell them to drop it?" And she was like, "All right." She was like, she was like, "For the record," she's like, "When I pressed these charges, I fucking hated your guts." Literally,
That
what she
doesn't
said.
make it okay.
Well,
She should get
Yeah.
reverse charges.
well,
That's
Yeah.
my.
I didn't record the conversation, and
Misuse
like,
of
victim
emergency.
blaming.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just,
So she told me this, and she was like, "But yes, I'll go in there and talk to them about it." And then they told me I had to turn myself in before they could drop it. I didn't know that was a rule, but apparently you got to before
Probably.
anything, you have to legit turn yourself in. But
weak.
word,
Never doing that.
So
you're
we're
never doing
all-
that. You're
Never
never.
turning myself in. Don't find me.
No, she found me.
Never.
Like they found me. I didn't turn myself in. I didn't believe her.
Do your job.
I was
You're
like,
the detective.
well,
Detective.
well,
Investigate.
she told me that I had to turn myself in, and I was like, "Nah, that's just a ploy. They're gonna keep me. Like that. That's just
I did it
just a
once.
trick."
That's how I know. And they kept me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They call that the okey doke. That's the okey doke. They're
That's
like,
cool.
"Oh, come on down. It's okay. You'll get right out." And then they don't let you right out.
Well, that's no
You're there
different.
for 3 days.
That's
I was
no
only
different
there
than
for
back in the
a couple
day,
hours,
standing outside the bank and waiting on per cap time, and just be like, "That guy's got a warrant. That guy's got a
Oh,
warrant."
they
they
still
do.
do it.
They still
Yeah.
do that.
They
They
still
do.
do it.
Yeah. Which, granted, anybody that doesn't get direct deposit probably does have warrants.
Right.
At this point.
Exactly.
Don't get dirty. I also don't have one currently.
Currently.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Honestly. Anytime they run me, I'm like, damn, I might have a warrant out there.
Always have
There
to,
was
like,
a
really
time.
think it
There was
through.
a time in my life where I was like, anytime they run me, I'm probably gonna have a warrant.
Mm.
Like even now, I'm like, I probably have a warrant somewhere.
Yeah,
Mm.
somehow.
You know.
Well, I got pulled over in the next town over for the FTA, and I could have swore it was my first. Like, had put a warrant out on me in that in that city, because like we had like random charges in random cities that we would put each other on. But I lived in Waynesville and Silva at the
Should have
time.
locked y'all both up.
I know, right? Heathens.
I know a lot of stories about people getting charged.
I haven't
What,
ever
mine?
seen that.
No,
happen.
not yours.
Oh, good.
Other people.
I had one, the most recent one, where the cops actually pressed charges on me, not the person.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
They did it, but only because I was getting buck wild with the cops.
Yeah.
And
that's
so they
what
were
I
like, DV. And I was like, for what, you guys? They were like, nah, you're yelling. But yeah, I was yelling for sure.
I would.
You know, I was doing that.
Like, I was
I
guilty.
did. I definitely did that, and that is. And so you both know that is abuse.
There you go.
Yelling
So yell.
that's abuse.
Yeah.
I just did 30 weeks of counseling, so I know
You've
That's
yelled at me.
that's abuse.
Oh, word. Okay.
That's
right.
abuse.
I mean, I'm not gonna fight.
Slamming doors.
Yeah.
That's abuse.
Yeah.
Literally.
What else? Silent treatment. That's abuse.
That's not abuse.
That's
Okay.
abuse.
Yeah.
That
it
is
can be.
in that's in the
If you
last
use it as
packet.
intimidation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you use it as a tool to manipulate your partner, that's abuse.
I'm glad
I don't know if I want this on
Silent
air. Like, I don't know if I
I
want
would
anybody
never sign
having
up for
this
program.
ever.
I would never
son of a bitch. I was like, I've been getting abused. I've been getting abused this whole time. My whole life.
Same.
But, you know, like slamming doors, things that we don't think about. Throwing things, like if you're, say you get in a fight with your girlfriend, and you're like, I fucking wash these dishes, you didn't do them, and you start slamming dishes, that's domestic violence. That's abuse.
Because you slamming dishes.
Yeah. Intimidation.
That's intimidation. And you could say the same. You could say the same. Like she goes in another room, slams the door. That you could press charges for that.
For
72 hours.
Jesus.
Okay, maybe, I don't know.
Honestly,
well,
probably not.
Yeah, it depends on if you have priors or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get out before you're 72.
Yeah.
Just thoughts, just things to keep
Just
in the back of
something
your
to
head.
keep. Yeah, I'm writing notes.
Yeah.
I'm writing notes going on right now.
That's what those things are. You know, we don't think about that.
I may never date again.
Technically, is
Not
abuse. That's abuse.
Oh, that's fine. So,
Anywhere that's abuse. For the record.
oh wow.
So, y'all
so not even just here in this
that's just
town.
abuse. Don't be an abuser.
Okay.
Stop being an abuser.
So
Stop.
don't abuse.
It's hurt people that hurt people.
Yeah.
And this is the cycle.
I don't even
was
feel like you're in a.
talking about.
I don't even feel like you're in a program. I feel like you're in a cult.
I'm telling you, I was like, you know what? I have done a lot of these things. Have I put my hands on a lot of people? No. Have I did these other things? For sure.
For sure.
So I was like, definitely guilty of those.
I've
Silent treatment, I'm real good at it. Because I will literally not talk to you for days on end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's confirmed.
Yeah, or like only text.
Yeah.
I don't even do that. I don't even think I
I'm
do that.
just, you know, maybe it's a manipulation tactic. I don't know.
I've-
Maybe I just don't
It
want
is.
to talk.
It is.
I've
To
done.
be real honest.
I've
I don't
done.
know, maybe it's a way of self-control. My dad didn't talk to me for
Well,
days because I wrecked his car in high school.
I do also.
It would be
think
more than 3 days.
I
if
do
you're in
also
my car.
think-
I say with love.
Person.
It was a beater car that had
You're
200,000
lucky he
miles
didn't
on
beat
it.
on you.
Honestly,
She was probably like,
She
I would
was
rather you
abused.
beat on me than
That was still
ignore me
abuse.
for
She was
3
still
days.
That was
abused.
still
She got
abuse.
ignored.
That was still abuse.
Yeah, it is still abuse. But sometimes I do think I shouldn't say anything because when I do say something, it probably ain't gonna be good.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but then
Make sure
you
you
have
bite your
to be mature enough to give yourself an amount of time to understand the feelings you're having, and then come back and say, okay, this is why I felt that way. You hurt my feelings. See, he don't believe in it.
It's not that I don't believe in it. I'm just not doing any of this.
You have to do it,
You
or
have to do the work.
he's gonna be in and up 72 hours.
Right.
And then
Alright.
he's gonna be calling Rob, come get me out, get
Hey.
that out.
Oh god.
Again.
Yeah, you're right. Oh god.
He'll be calling me to come get him out.
Yeah.
I'll say, well, you have to learn to listen.
It's like,
I told you
it's all
already.
on.
Literally
If she's
gave
gonna-
him the class for free.
If
I
you're just gonna
will.
leave me in there.
Yeah, I said, well, I can't get you out 72 hours. I'm gonna pick you up and take you right to group. This is where you need to be.
This is where you're supposed to be.
72 hours.
72
In
hours.
30.
I think the
30 weeks in this
I do
program.
think the 72 hours thing is a lot, personally.
Does it give a cool down time?
I don't think so.
I feel like you get more angry
Yeah.
in 72
Well,
hours.
think about too.
Yeah, that happens.
Think about too the fact that let's give a scenario where maybe you didn't do it. You are
Okay.
innocent. Say you, for instance, you're dating some guy. He says you abused him. You can't even say you didn't.
I know.
That's not how it works.
I
So
got threatened with that.
so say you know it's the middle of a work week. You get picked up. That's 3 days.
yeah.
You're missing work.
Yep.
They're not gonna accept you're in jail as
As an
an
excuse.
excuse.
Yeah.
So you're in there, and now 3 days, and maybe you have to go to the counseling or whatever, and you got to miss another day of work for that.
Yeah.
And then, assuming the job you have even allows you to still be there with those charges, like it's just not gonna be good.
A lot of jobs in Cherokee do. A lot of people.
Yeah,
To keep
but
their
I think a
jobs.
lot of the like owners and like managers love the stories, so they're like, "Oh, well, I can't wait to hear what happens next. I can't wait for this guy to finally come back to work." Oh,
My threat, when the threat happened to me, I definitely called my boss first and said, I think I have to quit. She's like, whoa, what's going on?
We can sweep this under the rug.
Yeah.
Like nobody will ever know.
Nobody will know. Just
Okay.
me.
No, I think that a lot of in your scenario, somebody tried to charge you with 50B, not the one you were supposedly abusing, but like law enforcement in general. I feel like a lot of 50Bs are made in those scenarios. I can remember when I was a kid when my parents used to freaking yell and fight and slam doors and break all these abusive rules that Scandalous keeps talking about on the radio, like every single one of them.
Abuse.
Yeah.
Strong.
So, but they never once called the law on each other. Not once. Not
Somebody
one.
else called the law on
Somebody else. Which I lived in a really closed-in neighborhood, so you breathe hard, somebody can hear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a common thing, but.
Well, that would be criminal charges. Criminal charges are very different than a 50B. 50B, you can at least beg that they'll drop it, and they might. They probably will. Yeah. Especially here.
Well, and they used
criminal charges.
Oh.
Another one.
Oh man.
Pause.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of situations where like I can remember cops showing up and then them trying to convince my mom to press to do a 50B.
Yeah.
But in a weird way, I feel like I semi remember them telling my dad the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, and then just going back and forth. Like, oh, you can press charges if you want to. This, that, and the other. And they're just both like, what the fuck? Like, we didn't even call you guys. We don't even want you here. Like, there's a lot of situations like that.
Mine was basically like that, where they showed up and she was like, I don't even want you guys to be here. I don't want anything to happen. And then they escalated I had been drinking too, but they escalated the situation with me. Yeah. So they got me hyped up, and then I continued to just get more
hyped
irritated.
Than them.
Then on top of that, they were, my opinion, they were scared for sure. They were, and I kind of squared up on them a little bit. Yeah. So then they were like, all right, put your hands behind your back.
Yeah, what else can they do?
Yeah, so
just the law.
And then, I mean, definitely they were like, damn, gonna have to fight this dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, thankfully I didn't, but they pretty much, I think they escalated the situation personally. That's my personal opinion. But
well, so in that scenario, who called?
I did.
Oh.
No.
I called.
No.
Yeah, and then I was like, I called you guys to help me.
So I was getting abused.
I wasn't getting abused, but we were arguing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like normal argument, I think.
Like normal couples just screaming and throwing shit across the house. I remember that.
Not even that. Just like arguing. Like I've probably been drinking too much, for sure.
Yeah.
So you didn't throw anything?
Maybe. I was throwing stuff in a bag. I was like, I'm out of here. Being dramatic. I'm a dramatic guy. Yeah. Weak. So I'm like I'm out of here. I'm throwing my shit in a bag. I have a big
trash bag.
Big trash bag.
This is my prepper bag.
Throwing all my shit in there.
Stays in there for a week after, because y'all are back together.
Honestly, there was a couple times.
It was a while.
There was a couple times in my second marriage where I had a prepper bag.
You had a freak out bag.
I had a freak out bag.
Call it a freak out bag. Got a little cash in there, maybe a pair of pants. Shirts, phone charger.
That's a safety plan.
Yep.
Yeah. So anytime I just didn't want to be at home, I'd pick a fight, start throwing, and it'll be like, I'm fucking out.
That is abuse.
That's abuse.
I know what it is.
So
I said it.
I've done it too. I've done it too.
Yeah, and just
I'm
left.
the worst for in an argument
Ginger,
saying we could just be done, and that's abuse.
That's abuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of the threat
you're
of leaving.
basically threatening them
with something.
We're having this argument. We can just be done. Instead of now they're manipulated into I don't want to have this argument because you're saying you want to just be done. So they're changing how they make react.
So do you think random question, do you think that 50Bs weirdly make a relationship stronger around here? I think in certain scenarios it does.
Sometimes, yeah. Like for me particularly, I learned a lesson that I will take on from now, and I also have got another one of our people that we know into the same group. I was like, you should, all of us could use that help, I think, because I was like, damn, I didn't know that the things I was doing is considered like abuse, and you can say it is or it isn't because we all gauge like, well, I've seen way worse than that. At least I'm not beating somebody's ass. You know, like I can honestly say I never beat like nobody I've ever dated's ass or anything like that. But those other things that were on there, like for sure, I've like said, oh, we can be done, or I've left for hours and not responded, turned my phone off, where they don't. That's all abuse. You know?
Yeah, slap dishes.
Everybody that grew up on the res probably needs it anyways.
So
needs the classes.
For sure.
Or even just that's what I call it too. So I don't call it the group. What it actually, I went to it by mistake. I was actually just supposed to go to AA, and I went to this group, and I was like, well, I actually have a problem. Like I cannot drink. Like I do enjoy to drink, but I cannot drink.
Right.
Well, so when I went to the group, I was like, this isn't the group I'm supposed to be in. And then as we continued to go through, I was like, damn, this is the group that I should be in, not AA, because I don't have a problem drinking. Right. So I volunteered for this thing, and it was good. You know, kind of shitty to have to go for so long.
You were like, you remember you told me you were taking the classes and stuff, and then your old lady was like, oh, that's not you talking.
Yeah, well, because I'll use some of that. I'll be like, see, this right here, this is the...
I'm just shocked.
But no, I'll tell her like, this is you doing, whatever this is, and we had just went over that in class. But basically, it's anger management, but in like a relationship, in the context of a relationship. So I told my friend like, you probably do have problems, man, and if you don't think you do, and you're just going to for somebody else, it's not gonna help you.
Absolutely.
Like if you have to, like, I was like, yeah, I'm a fucking asshole. I did those things. So yeah, I can honestly say like, yeah, I did need help.
That's the hard
recognizing that, and I don't think everybody, because in the group, everybody's like, oh, I'm innocent. I didn't do that. She did this first, and then I did this, and then the only like one person was like, oh yeah, beat that bitch's ass after she tried to fucking shoot me or stab me, and it's like, yeah, I fucking did beat her ass.
And they don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I've done it, but most of the time, those dudes are like, yeah, I didn't. It's not my fault.
Yeah, like automatically in defensive.
And I was like, I definitely.
I think all the time is a requirement, because you may go into the class thinking, oh, she started it, they started it, whatever. Yeah. And you need all that time to process. Oh, maybe I did do this first.
For sure.
But I was trying to think, like, so neither one of my ex-wives ever tried to stab me. But I've had a lot of ex-girlfriends that tried to stab me at some point or another.
I'm not even stabbed, but I've been, like, playing sports and fighting dudes and stuff. I've been punched in the face more by women than I ever have by other men. You know what I mean? Like,
well, so my uncle used to work for, like, Charlotte Police Department, like, back in the day. Yeah. And we were talking about, like, people, different points, because I've asked him, I was like, has anybody ever pulled a gun out on you? And he was like,
these situations are the most.
It is.
It's legit, because there's a laundry list of different emotions that are going through there. And he was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. He said, if a man pulls out a gun on you, he said 9 times out of 10 they're never gonna pull the trigger. He's like, that's just an intimidating factor.
Oh.
He said, he said there's nothing scarier than a woman pulling a gun out on you. He's like, because there's a lot of different emotions there, and he's like, and I'm not being a
So you're saying they're emotional?
Yeah, we are.
I didn't say that.
I can say I'm an emotional person. I'm an emotional ass dude.
I think more men are impulsive with themselves.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
But
when women,
that was morbid.
That's why I don't own a gun.
Yeah.
I already know.
Well, I think not to be facetious or a dick in this situation, but I feel like we think about like the long term game. Like, okay, is it worth it for me to shoot you and then go to prison or dodge and 3 meals a day? I think we weigh that out.
Yeah. Whereas
like a woman that's like already angry, already pissed, and then pulls the trigger, it's like they don't think about the long term. They think about like, oh, okay, I'm done with you. Damn. You know what I'm saying?
And if they have years of evidence of abuse.
Yeah.
See.
Well, my thing too is like with the group and like we share and things like that. It's usually people, like for me it was the opposite, and I think that's why I had a problem. But it was usually the dads or the boyfriends or whatever abusing the moms or their sisters or whatever. For me, it was my mom abusing my stepdad. like watching him just get his ass whooped all the time. And he wasn't like, he didn't get like beat up, he wasn't like crying around, but she was like beating his ass and like abusing him definitely emotionally. And so seeing that, I was like, I'm never gonna let a woman do that to me ever.
Yeah.
So that made me have this weird thing with like arguing, because he would just leave and I'd be like, yeah, he didn't beat her ass, like he just left. He would just leave for like a week at a time and come back. And I developed that too. So anytime I would have a girl, I'll just leave. You know, I'd just be like, I'm out of here, and I would leave, and then I would just come back and be like, everything was good. And it never, you know, we didn't talk about it. We just pretend like
it's good for a minute,
Yeah. And so that was me, you know, doing that.
And so it would be like a day, come back, things cooled down for a day, and then
so
leave again the next day.
I was like, oh, I miss you, babe.
Like, then it's I miss you text, and you're like, okay.
Like, still mad at me?
I'm pulling in right now.
I just send the you up.
Like y'all are, no.
Have to hit them off the texting app because you're blocked.
Kids iPad.
Send them like $1 on Cash App. Unblock me.
Absolutely.
I would never send $1.
Send $1
to do that. No.
Really?
Not sending no money. You gotta see a message. Have I wrote a note? For sure, definitely wrote a note. I'm gonna write a note.
How'd you get it to them?
Drop it off at their house.
Wow.
Like in their mailbox?
No, like just
front door.
Drop it off. Yeah, put it on their car or something.
Car.
It's the effort. They see the effort.
They see the effort.
That's actually a lot of effort.
That's a lot of high school, like a lot of high school.
On there, you know. Whatever.
I mean, if it works, it works, man.
It works.
Think
about it, like today's, like maybe before that wasn't a big deal, but nowadays, like, damn, he came all the way over here.
That's so true.
In a weird way, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, was it creepy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps the relationship going. It does.
Everything makes sense in context. I'm
Oh man. So like.
Have you ever thought about taking a DVPO out on somebody? Never. I had one from like basically from a guy. We had an argument, and allegedly we basically, it was gonna get physical. That's what happened. So the last time I had, you know, whatever happened, when I got to court, I was like, hopefully they don't bring this up. And they brought it. They were like, "Oh, he has another victim." Like, I was like,
wow.
And I'm sitting up there like looking crazy already. I'm in the jumpsuit, shackles on, and they're like, "He has another victim out there." And then I'm like, "Who are they talking about?" And then it was this guy that I had an argument with, and so he basically had taken out the same charges, pretty much, but without being like in a relationship context. So we
it would be 50C.
Yeah, so like if I showed up and he was somewhere, I would like have to leave.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Or like I could be arrested.
Yeah.
Dang.
Or like for
or
instance,
jail. Or like a court. You would have to go through a court process.
If I like happened to see him again and then tried to fight him or do something again, then it would be even more charges because you're violating this order.
Right.
That you have against you.
Dang. So like, it's just a big snowball.
I don't know that
so,
it
like,
helps.
once it gets started, it goes.
I don't think it helps or hurts the relationship.
Do what?
I don't think it helps or hurts the relationship.
A lot of those people
happens.
that I like know have had a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And
they're still together.
Yeah, and they're still together. And then the crazy thing to me, I'm a men's advocate, but the women have to do less time in the group than the men do.
Yeah,
they have
There's
less
a
time.
separate women's group.
And the women,
why?
They just do. It's just but
we're already cursed with BMS. Let's
so
not start.
they also
Wow.
what's interesting too, like I said, with the guys,
I don't know that.
With the guys, they a lot of guys, I did it because of this, or she was cheating on me, so I did this. The women will be like, yeah, I fucking beat his ass.
Yeah.
All of them, and they'll like laugh about it.
Yeah.
It's like a joke.
Well,
but if we were like laughing about beating these bitches' asses in group, it'd be like a big deal.
It would.
You know? So I don't know.
Well, it's funny is
men are good at manipulation. Just one thing.
Well, I remember my uncle was taking like a concealed. Well, he wasn't. He was taking a concealed carry, like, and then there was a group of people getting their concealed carries. And this woman looked at me, and then the instructor was going around the room asking why they wanted concealed carries. And like most of it's for like hunting or my Second Amendment.
My wife's crazy.
So this woman gets up and she's like, I want to use it to shoot my husband.
Wow. Oh my God.
Concealed.
And they gave it to her.
And the instructor thought she was joking and gave it to her. Like gave her, and then like the next week, nope, didn't kill him, shot him. Like he survived it.
Oh my God, that's.
Yeah.
Well, they
from what I understand, they're still
together
too.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
legit.
well, this is a crazy story that one of my clients told me. So his uncle and his aunt had been married for forever. They were older. She finds out she hired a private investigator. Finds out he's been cheating, all this stuff. Shows up to the hotel. He's knocks on the door. He opens the door, shoots him in the chest. Dude falls down. He's all bleeding, and then tells the woman like, "You ain't even worth the bullet it's gonna take to shoot you with," and leaves. They stay together. Like he was like, you know what? Call it even. Like he was like he just called it, and I would probably do the same thing. To be honest.
So?
Yeah, like I've been not in that situation, but got caught and then ended up in jail and was sitting there mad for like the first hour. I was mad, and then I was like, you know what? I deserve this. Let's call it. We'll just call it even. So I was, because I had been doing some scandalous shit. So when that happened, I was like real mad, like, mad at all the other. And I was like, honestly, like, I did this shit to myself. It was a good run. I had a good run, and then I was like, we'll just call it even.
Oh no, man! I just got in my head like Tiger Woods' ordeal where he like bought his old lady that $10,000 ring.
That ain't worth it.
And there's a lot of comedians.
I know restaurants that bought their chicks $10,000 rings.
Oh yeah.
You got to do better than that.
Right, pawn it.
I ain't gonna lie, I did not do that. I was not that guy.
Like, so call it even.
No. To buy a $10,000 ring, like a $10,000 ring. No, the first one I bought was like $300. The other one was like.
What if you cheated on your girlfriend? Would you let her cheat on you and call it even?
No.
Would you?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Not
even a little bit.
Personally, and nobody ever believes me. I was doing, like I said, some scandalous shit in my younger days. And I'd be looking through the girl's phone or whatever. She looked through mine. I'd look through hers, and I would see she's hanging out with this guy, talking to this guy, and I'd just be like, damn. I'd be mad, but then I'd be like, well, she don't even know the stuff I'm doing. So I would just be like, I would just not say nothing about it. And then she would be, yelling at me like, I heard you were talking to so and so. And I'd be like, well, what about you doing this, this, and this? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I'd be like, yeah. And she was like, so you, and then she would be, yeah. And she would turn it on me and be like, you knew about it.
Right, you should have
approached me. Yeah, you should have said it the moment. And I was like, how am I in the wrong? Like, I know.
And it was just flipped.
But that's a toxic trait I for sure still have to this day. Like, if I find out you, like, say you did something, I'm going to just not say nothing.
Yeah.
And let it play out. And then whenever it comes out, and then I do him dirty, and he's like, well, how could you do this to me? I'm like, well, remember this? Flashback.
And then,
and he's like, fucking heartbreaks. That's me. Nah, so yeah, I definitely, I would call it even.
I think that's coping.
I feel like that's different though.
What about this? Thought about this one. Lost what I was about to say. It was a good one too, where you just call it even, like, okay, well, or like you were doing a girl dirty, right? She finds out, and then she's like, let's just forget about this. I forgive you, real quick. In my younger days, I would be like, oh, thank you so much, blah blah blah. Now I'm like, what have you been doing?
Right. That's the first thing.
Because like what she's been doing is worse than what she's been doing.
Legit. Like
or the other way around. If it's a guy, chick gets caught, it's the same. They're doing some shit that's way worse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It took a long time to figure that out.
Yeah, and that's the first thing that would go through my mind, and it's even worse because I know like 1,000 other people know and haven't told me. So all of a sudden I'm pissed off at the world.
Oh really? Yeah. You think everybody would know?
Absolutely. Getting coupled around here, everybody knows something.
Nah, man, I was so good back in my day. I was so good. I would never tell names. Never, like, even to my best friend since childhood. I would even what I would tell them a story, I'd just be like some girl. or I would never
and then
tell
they're
him.
like, wait, who? And then
I
you're
would-
like, I never told you.
No, I would never tell him because I didn't want him to be implicated. I didn't want him to have a guilty
know all the
conscience.
details.
Right.
A guilty conscience.
Because now maybe he sees me out with my girlfriend and he's like, oh, he's doing this over here on the side.
Or these women all group up on him and is like, so what have you heard? And then they start like badgering
So
him for hours and hours.
never, yeah, that happened.
That's a legit thing.
So this
That
happened
happens.
another time.
I'm good friends with somebody now.
I
Yeah.
got in a fight with my girlfriend. My best friend was with us at her house, and we get in an argument. So I leave my best friend at my girlfriend's house with her aunt, and her aunt was really sweet, but with her aunt and her friend, and that's why he was kind of there, was like kind of talking to the friend. And I left to go to a different girl's house because we were fighting because she had hung out with a guy earlier that day. That's how she got home. She left my house, and they got a guy to come and pick him up from my house. So I'm pissed about it, whatever. I go out the house all dramatic, and I'm going to this girl's house. So I leave, and he's like, he texts me, where are you? And then he texts me immediately, he's like, don't tell me where you're at. They got my phone. They're like ganging up on him.
Oh,
and
that's
this
a
poor
friend.
dude has to leave in the middle of the night, and I'm hanging out with this chick, and we're just hanging out, and I'll leave, and he's like, I'm on the bingo. In my mind, he's like, all dying. But he's like, I'm on the bingo steps sleeping, it's freezing. And I show up, and he's just curled up in a ball
Oh,
on the
God.
bingo steps. And he's like, you asshole, this is the second time you left. He was like, they were beating on me, trying to get my phone.
There'll be a third wheel.
Dude,
Dang.
it was so crazy. But yeah, definitely, they'll gang up on me. But yeah, they're sick about that.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening in to Res Rat Radio. Next week, we'll be doing Sheriff Justice. Please tune in to hear all the cool cop stories that we got to come in your way. Until next time, guys, we love you. Thank you so much.